Okay, so we are live, I believe. Yes, this is session 5 of Monsterhearts 2. Once again, will your turn. This is our last session, our finale of this Monsterhearts Wicked and Divine mashup here in the Gauntlet Playgroup, which I don't know if I've said once. I'm really or learning my way through these intro sort of things. You can tell this one's just rambling and going in circles. Anyways, we're starting. We have gods, we have angst, we have bad decisions, we have bad relationships. We have a new god, we have Zoe, I mean Set. I mean not Amaterasu's toy anymore. Definitely out there to make Jamie look terrible. At some point, I should go through the various motivations I've written for her for various sessions. They're all the worst because Zoe was the worst, continues to be, except now she glows a lot. So we've had some time pass from the funeral. I don't know if emotions have necessarily evened out, but the heat of them has cooled a little bit. Everybody is Zoe's toy. Um, uh, so this is I'm sorry, it's a month of the future. What we're coming in on is sort of echoing back to what we had in our first session of we're coming in on a performance. We're coming in on Zoe's performance, her first big performance for a huge crowd. She's, practiced it. She's done some pop-up things in a couple of small bars, just trying her hand out, but this is her first big foray into mass audience. Um, it's going to be at the carnival, but it's going to be in a location that we haven't seen at the carnival quite yet. It's going to be the badass magical floating stage out in the ocean, in the middle of the water. People on the beach, people in boats and dinghies and all sorts of floating things out through the water, all the bad ideas, all the drinking and swimming and eating and not waiting 30 minutes at all. People are going to get cramps. They're going to get cramps and die, you guys. Or it may just be awesome. It may be super awesome. What if it's more awesome than yours? So I want to go around the circle. I want to do a little paint the scene, and I want to hear how you look for tonight. What is your fashion? What is your mood? And B, I want to hear a fantastical detail about this floating stage or the set or lighting or special effects that Zoe has set up going here. I want to hear something over the top about this performance tonight. Um, so, Ryan, if you would like to start us off with Apep, how he looks, how this place looks, and background jingling.
Yeah, I think he's put away the jingle ball for the moment. But if there's stray jingling, it's that my cat really wants to be a god. Um, so Jamie is probably lurking towards. Well, Apep is lurking towards the edge of his cave, which has a lot more rubble. It's not so neat an entrance of a cave, but it's got a pretty good view of the stage. Other people might be trying to take advantage of that. I don't know. That's a bad place to hang out unless you really like volatile snake god dude exploding at you. He's wearing black skinny jeans, his black like mid-calf boots that he's always got on. Well, sometimes different sets, but always the same height because he can't be any shorter than Ami than he is already. Sort of hoodie and leather jacket. He's more covered up than usual. Got some dark sunglasses on, and just kind of leaning against the wall, smoking as usual. And the scene being super awesome. Uh, I think there's already like a multicolor light show thing going out on the stage even before set is out there properly, which is probably inadvisable to have a lot of electronics out on the water. But we're gods. We don't need electrical engineering degrees or anything. It works.
Oh, there's so many things plugged into that stage. There's like
Yeah.
extension cords and power strips everywhere. It's definitely not the worst choice ever. I also think if Apep bothered to look up, above his cave, but of course, why would he? Because he doesn't even care, not at all. But there has been this sort of like growing flock over the past month of disaffected, pale young youths looking tragic and in black and in tight, smoking cigarettes, and none of them are like there together or anything. They're just there and they're like staring off into the sunset because they have a weight on their soul and they're trying to just consider the depth of the universe. And it's just a coincidence that they happen to be above Apep's cave. They didn't even know this was Apep's cave. It wasn't even marked or anything.
I could ask for nothing more.
Tier. What do we see of Tier, and what's something else cool about our setup tonight for the concert?
Oh my god. Okay. I have to like not hate myself for this because this is but I think Tyr he's probably wearing like opposite Tyr, like he's sort of like dabbling with like a lot of dark thoughts about fatality and like the weight of inevitability. So he's not feeling so like pure and white and holy, I suppose. So I think like I think he's still rocking massive wings because we're gods. But I think these ones are probably like quite. For some reason, I can only think of it like sort of tortoiseshell cat, like mottling with like sort of black feathers and white feathers, and like sort of like a bit more tawny and grey. And he's the harness is like fully strapped across like one like sort of bare torso kind of thing. Like he's fully just rocking all of his indie hipster muscles. And he's probably wearing I don't know, some sort of like dark skinny jeans or something to that effect. That's what Tyr looks like.
Awesome.
And I think this place I'm wondering how much I care about the environment. Oh, nah. Like, so it's. I was tossing it between two things. I think this is cooler. I think they've got like sort of fire jets like set up right like around the outside of this floating stage. So like when they go off, it's like they just like light up the sea and that kind of thing with like this orange light that sort of blast out across like the inky black depths in this place.
Surprise jets of flames totally couldn't go wrong at all. Nope. Everything is completely safe, above board, OSHA standards. David.
So the only real answer for how does Amy dress to a concert is a yellow sundress.
Aww.
Because totally not a metaphor for anything. And the detail about Zoe's entrance, and I had to do this because it's going to make Apep so angry. She's coming out on an obsidian throne, being carried by six guys dressed like goths.
That expression is amazing.
Desperate much?
Well, she just has to hammer in the point that you are the servant.
I know you want me, but you don't have to go buy 6 of me to show me that.
All right, and Alex, what do we see of the Moirai and one other bit of extravagance for this performance?
I think the Moirai has gone back to the classics, rocking that like ye old style, going back to the like ye old depictions of the Moirai with like a hooded flowing robe. except it's like constantly being rewoven in different colors. So it's like eternally reforming itself, and it's like fading off into nothingness as it like trails along the ground. And I think for a bit of extravagance is like there's just so much stuff on the stage. It's so heavy. There's no way it was meant to float this much. So Set is like calling up there's piles of sand to like erupt from under the ocean and like keep it supported. And I think these like, as Zoe is being carried out onto the platform, these are like coming up from the water to support the 6 guards. So it looks like they're walking on water towards the stage.
That's amazing. All right. So we'll sort of go in reverse order here and stick with you for a minute, Alex. Where is the Moirai? Where do we see you? How are you coming into this concert? Who are you hanging out with?
You know, I don't think I've talked to Apep in these 3 sessions. So the Moirai is heading towards the Mope Cave.
All right. So Apep, you see the Moirai heading up from the shoreline up a little bit of a climb into your cave.
Apep just sort of gets his head a bit because Moirai never come to the cave, and says much like, so what brings you here? You're never here. And kind of reaches into his coat, pulls out a pack of cigarettes and offers it toward the Moirai because does Z smoke? We don't know. Maybe one of them does.
I like it.
I think like as the Moira is climbing up that cliff, we get the sort of like black on black comic panels and the very close zoom in on Apep's shadowed face with just the perfect light cut across his mouth as he says that.
You know he's doing this to mess with you, right?
Who is?
Zervan.
He only does anything to mess with us.
Why do you put up with it?
Wait, what?
Why do you put up with it? Sitting here in your cave, just watching it happen?
You're proposing that I, like, just go after Set now? Or do you have a plan here? Is the whole idea that I'm supposed to, like, kill Zervan, kill Set, devour the world? I don't know. How far are you expecting this to go?
I don't know. It just seems weird to be doing nothing.
I don't see you doing a lot.
Well, I'm trying.
He kind of waves the box a little. Do you want one or not? Because hand's getting tired.
Like it, sure.
Okay. And they'll flick a lighter, which again illuminates him exactly perfectly. How? For just like one panel.
Do you think that might be a turn Zeron sort of situation?
Sure, that's weird enough. I might as well go for it. Why not?
As you like lean in to light the cigarette?
Yes, I do everything hotly. Why not? I think I had some dice here. Yeah. That's only a 9. The Moirai aren't that into me.
Oh, do you have any strings on the Moirai?
I do?
Well, it's up to you. You go with the 7 to 9 where they can choose between a string or giving you a reaction, or 10 where you get the string and the reaction.
Spend a string to get a string feels a little silly, so I'll just go for the mixed result, because I like the idea that the Moray are just not that taken in by me.
All right.
Oh,
So what do you want to choose there?
I think I'm going to promise something I think you want. Say, look, fine. You want action? I can do action.
I'm
Moray's
interested. What are you
gonna-
proposing?
Well, you'll just have to wait and see, won't you? And then it's like, what's the word? Storm away towards the main stage. Still holding the cigarette.
Okay,
You can come
and
along
see,
if you want.
Yeah, you can see JB kind of still, well, Op-Ep, JB, both of them, kind of still in that spot, kind of tip the sunglasses down a little, and he's got entirely too snaky of eyes, tip them back up, and just follow.
She stole your cigarette. She stole your vibe. She's cooler than you at your own cave. What's happening?
I mean, I gave her a cigarette.
Z. Curses.
Z, I gave Zura a cigarette. Dang it. Following you.
All right, so y'all are heading down towards it. Tyr, where do we see Tyr at this performance?
Tyr, there. I mean, inadvertently, Moira and Op-Ep are probably on their way to Tyr, because I feel like Tyr, no, like Tyr fully will appear at this thing with like one of the fire jets going off, and then like they're there, right? Like silhouetted against like the fire that's how they're gonna enter this motherfucking concert.
You stole my pants and my lighting? What is wrong with you?
And then so and then it'll probably be like one of those like sort of very Jamie McKelvey sort of long lingering splash pages of like Tyr arriving silhouetted by flame with these like big angel wings. It's half naked.
Awesome. And Ami, where are you at for this concert?
So I think things have been like Ami has tried to like set some boundaries with Zoe and has failed, and like wasn't going to come to this concert because Zoe did like she found out how petty Zoe's going to be to Op-Ep, and then Zoe did the waterwork, saying no, I really need your support. So Ami got wrangled into being backstage support for Zoe.
Oh my god, of course you are. So what position are you filling? Are you doing something mundane in sort of like stage manager, or are you helping out in a godly way?
I think the line was Zoe used was, I can't do this without you. And then Ami shows up and finds that everything is being done without her. So there is literally nothing for Ami to do.
So you just definitely need to be there backstage, but you don't really have any purpose in all of this chaos.
I'm very ornamental right now.
Gotcha. So this is like Tyr's reappearance on the scene sort of thing, right?
Yeah, like Tyr like 2.0. Like after having like no one seen Tyr for a month, even though promises were made about rebelling against the man.
I don't know, I feel like that puts some more pressure on things. I might be interested in a keep your cool there to make sure that your first big public reappearance goes off as well as you think it.
Nice. So I have to say what I'm afraid of, right?
Yeah, what are you afraid might go wrong here?
I'm afraid of what might go wrong. I'm
Sorry.
The chat was like, there's 50 messages from Avi checking if to see if he's okay. Oh, bless Avi. And I think Tyr is afraid that people will be angry at him for disappearing. Because that feels like self-important enough to be like, yeah, people would have noticed my presence, but also like, oh my god, I'm so important. I really let everyone down.
Nice. Why don't you roll with cold?
You'd think after 4 sessions of this, I would have already had like the page loaded up and ready to go, but no.
Ugh, you're just the worst here.
Everyone hates me. It's understandable. I'm the worst. Okay.
Nothing's happening, and it's all your fault.
That's a 10. My cold is. Oh, I'm cold as hell. It was 12. It's 12.
God. All right, on
Colder.
on a 10 up, you keep your cool and gain insight. Ask the MC a question about the situation. Take +1 forward when acting on it. So yeah, like vamp up. How awesome is this appearance for Tyr that people haven't seen in a month?
Oh my god! Well, I totally like. Yeah, it's totally gonna be like the what do you call it? The kind of like an aerial show, but he doesn't need an aerial show because we're motherfucking gods and we can fly and stuff, right? So it's probably like, boom, like fire jets, and then like Tyr like takes off into the sky, kind of thing, fly over everyone.
Nice. So yeah, Moirai, up, you're walking towards the concert. You see a flaming meteorite of Tyr sort of circling around and showing off his abs? Question mark.
You see Apep kind of stop and look up and just, are those my pants?
And I think that's just such a perfect one-liner. We're gonna skip backstage again. Ami, you see this unscheduled pyrotechnics.
Yeah, and when I see that Tyr's out there, I'm definitely going to try to rush out to like see him, and probably too late. But considering that no one is paying attention to Ami, this is a perfect opportunity to use hidden in the scenery.
Nice. So let's see. What does that one do again?
So when no one knows where you are, you may roll with dark and become hidden in the scene and begin listening in. And then basically how I rolled it determines if anyone actually notices me or not.
Cool. So why don't you roll with dark?
That is an 11. So I yet again fail to fail.
People are successful at everything.
So yeah, I think I go rushing out into the crowd, and even though I'm like a head taller than the whole crowd, no one is noticing I'm there.
So is your goal to like sneak up and get next to Tyr, or do you just want to lurk somewhere?
No, I'm trying to get to Tyr.
Okay.
And of course, I think I like rushed into the crowd, and then he came flying up into the air. I'm like, really?
So I don't know, Lauren, where is it the Tyr lands? Like, where does Ami pop up around you? It's in the middle of the crowd, or do you have some exclusive spot that you get to? Is it on the stage?
Oh, so like the way I picture this kind of like so I picture we have a sort of the stage, and then there's sort of like the cascading like seats that kind of go down. So there's like higher like sort of nosebleed seats kind of like up there, right? He probably lands like up on the nosebleed seats to survey the area kind of thing.
So Ami panting appears after you land.
So The way I'm going to appear, and this is a fantastic misrepresentation of the rules, and I'm totally not the first person to do this, but it's still amazing. You're getting glomped, and I'm lashing out physically.
That's amazing.
Just the whole coming out of nowhere and with too much enthusiasm in a dangerous place.
I love it too. It's the perfect contrast because I think in Tyr's mind, Tyr's being super cool, right? Like this is like fire show and this is like dark Tyr and blah blah blah, and then he just gets like aggressively tackled.
All right, well, why don't you roll with volatile?
That's an 11.
Good lord.
I'm really volatile.
Yeah, I think the two of you go tumbling off the thing there. That's just going to be one harm, Tyr.
Cool. Is it the anime thing where you go like tumbling down these stairs and then like one of us is like lands like sort of poised over the other?
Oh, I think it's totally got to be Ami on top.
Yeah, totes. It has to be.
And I think in the comic panels, as you're like tumbling diagonally down the page and down the stairs, we see your new perfect, pristine, unmarred wings like snap, and in the same place that the wing had sort of dangled before is now dangling again.
I have an important question. Sorry. Did we heal any harm across that month?
No.
I am at 4 harm.
I know.
I hugged you into your darkest self.
Yes. Which is amazing. I've never seen that happen before in Monsterhearts, and I'm so happy it happened now. That is amazing.
So, skirting death, when you take your 4th harm, die. If you'd like to avoid death, you can erase all your harm by becoming your darkest self or losing all your strings you have on everybody.
It's way more fun to be darkest self. That really changes the tone of how I was going to play Tyr this episode. Amazing. Yes, I will go darkest self. This is perfect. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to be really mopey for like the next 3 hours. I apologize in advance.
Ami ruined everything.
It's perfect. Yeah. Oh God. Oh yes. So in that case, what happens is like Ami like tackle hugs right. They go tumbling down these stairs. And like I guess like Tyr looks up at Ami, and that's when he realizes like how much his absence had an impact on her and potentially everyone else. Not that he doesn't know because he hasn't seen anyone else yet. And I think there's that really like long lingering pause as he looks up at Ami, and he just like with a quivering lips is like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I'd hurt you that much."
And I think I'm going to push on that even a little bit further. With your weight of inevitability and fatalistic there. Like as you're coming down, you hear the snap of that wing. You look when you land and you see it broken in, like not even just the same sort of place, but it's broken in the exact same place it was before.
Nice.
And like it's clear to you, nothing has changed. This is all going to play out exactly the way it did before. This is going to lead to death. This is going to lead to destruction.
That's beautiful. Oh, that is so good. Yeah.
So yeah, you look up at Ami. You apologize for hurting her.
Yeah. And then I think like he even takes her sort of like by the shoulders so like he can sit up as well and like look at her in the eye, as they're kind of like sitting and kneeling together. And his wing is like sagging. And I think he even like shrugs his shoulder and like effortlessly like it just drops to the ground. So he sort of sheds off like the resilience he's built up over the past month, and he says, "Ami, there's nothing we can do to fix this."
God, just shut up and give me a hug. I've been worried sick about you.
Ami, I don't deserve your kindness and your open arms.
Okay, that's bullshit. You know it's bullshit. Come on. Seriously, I was really worried when you just disappeared at the funeral.
I know. And that's exactly why I can't accept this kindness. You shouldn't be kind to me. You should be angry at me. I would be happier if you'd punched me in the face.
Do you think you're trying to shut her down here?
Or are you trying to tempt me with a string?
No, or do you want her to lash out at you?
Yeah, I'll turn a cheek and sort of like gesture in a way you should punch me in my fine bone structure.
I think you say, I'd rather you just punch you in the face and just instantly right in the eye.
Whatever you want, dear. So it formally asking, is Ami accepting that string?
Oh, absolutely.
I can't really spin a string on someone and then punch me in the face. I don't have any strings on. I can only request that you do this to me.
Didn't you have some from when I was in love with you? Like on the initial setup?
Oh, maybe.
Because I don't think you've spent any on me.
I haven't spent any on you, no. Yeah, I think.
Unicorn. Someone's in love with you and has told you gain 2 strings on that.
Oh, shoot. I didn't. Yeah, so yeah, I'll spin one of those strings that I totally didn't write this down.
Yeah, I was like, how do you not have strings on Ami?
Good, yes, nice catch.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, I will spin a string. I need to have you punch me in the face. And so you go right for the eye?
Oh, yeah. Right. Like, no hesitation. Right in the eye.
Awesome.
So, yeah. We'll just play that out as go ahead and take another harm there, dear. So you're back up to 1. And I think that's the exact moment. Crowd parts, smack. That Moirai and Apep walk up to the 2 of you.
Apep's gonna lash out at Ami because he just sees her punch Tyr, and I don't care about the context.
How are you lashing out at her? Yeah. What are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. It's just the crowd parts. There's Apep, and Apep is throwing a fist at her.
Nice. Go ahead and roll
the
volatile.
Fist with those kind of knuckles that look like they're scabbed, but they're not. They're scales showing through his weird skin that's parting. Well, that's only a 9, but I have a bunch of strings on her, so it's actually a 10.
Are you
okay?
Oh, actually, I get a +1 to defend Tyr, so it's a 10 on its own.
Oh yeah, you do.
Nice.
Are you spending strings to do more harm?
You could spend strings for more harm. You could spend strings for condition to come in with it, but you have to unmute yourself to tell us what you choose.
Damn it. I hadn't done that for a while. Okay. Yes, I am spending a string to... Oh, those are such good options.
I'll have you know I'm coming into this at 2 harm.
I'm... Dang it. What do I want to do? Yeah, okay, I think that all that's going through Apep's mind is fucking kill, so yeah, I'm gonna do extra harm.
Alright, how many strings are you spending?
Oh, can I spend multiple strings?
If you want.
Yeah, you can spend
I will say...
a condition too.
This is the gauntlet, and we are living under Garrett-established precedent, so yes, unfortunately you can just murder people with strings if you want.
I'm just gonna do the 1 extra harm, and I'm gonna do the condition... Oh, it's so completely wrong and inappropriate. I'm gonna put Homewrecker on her.
Yeah.
All right, and I believe all that discussion of extra harm was unnecessary. As where's Ami's harm sitting now?
The one extra harm was enough to put me into my darkest self.
So that's what you're choosing?
Yes, I think me and Ryan were basically planning out at some point him putting me into my darkest self.
So
I mean,
why don't
it
you
was a happy accident.
just happened to turn out this way? Why don't you read off your darkest self for us?
Now, right now, it's time to rain stones down upon the bullies and the excluders. It's time to wreck their precious stuff, to shove them back so hard they'll never even dream of messing with you or anyone ever again. Escape your darkest self when you hurt one of those people more than they've ever hurt anyone else, and more than you meant to.
I forgot exactly how the Sasquatch went in that darkest self.
It's the nuclear option.
So, I think that's beautiful. Give us, like, what does it look like on screen as your darkest self comes over you? We won't quite get into actions, just give us visual.
So you remember when you got Ami really mad and there was a puff of flame showing up right in front of her forehead?
Mm-hmm.
The sun goes out and the sun instead is right on her forehead. As a little ball of pure fusion. And that, of course, burns away all of her clothes, and she is bright, like glowing bright white, so you can't actually see anything.
Perfect. So yeah, I think the sun, it had been setting, of course, exactly behind the stage. It was at that, like, on the water. It was the perfect half circle. It was this red light pouring off, and it just drops. It's not even like something covers it. It's like time skips forward and the sun just drops below the horizon. That red light winks out. It's completely dark. Everybody's eyes are sort of unadjusted for a minute. And then the like flare of Ami going out, red and then yellow and then white in this sort of like strobe disco ball light, which hits the stage where Zoe has just placed herself in the middle of it, finds her light. It's amazing. It illuminates. She is dressed basically in nothing but jewels. Just dripping, chained everywhere. This sort of like chain mask veil over her face, and standing there sparkling and glowing in Ami's light. And I think we'll take a 5-minute break and hit her performance real quick. And then I think we're going to come back in on the Moirai, who will surely see that rationality prevails and none of this goes crazy. All right.
Oh, of course.
There's our link. Enjoy. See you in 6-ish. Yeah. really have been listening to Scott Pilgrim all afternoon.
Success! Honestly, that soundtrack is surprisingly good.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
A lot of the songs do come up on my Pandora, which I pretty much listen to nonstop at work because my job is staring at computer screens.
Yeah, I saw you sent out that Metric song the other day, and when I listened to it, I was like, oh my god, I haven't thought about them in a while. I haven't thought about them since I listened to the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack.
But yeah, that song that I sent out is like the perfect song for the Worm playbook.
Oh yeah.
It looks like we lost the Morai's top of their character keeper, or is that just me?
It's
That's
still
not
there
bad.
for me.
There it
Fix
is.
it.
Yep.
That's a bit space or something. Oops.
Oh, by the way, punching tier leveled me up.
Nice.
Best line ever.
Oh my god. That move is amazing too.
The one I took.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very hard for me not to take that right away, but
All right. We return.
Wait. I bumped into Sid roommates and they're like, "Oh, is it for Pride Weekend?" And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, sure.
So I got chatting to them. I'm sorry, I'm back.
That's cool. So yes, Zoe has had a makeover in the last month. Her hair, short, cut off, bright blonde, all the sparkles and glitters and jewels, emeralds especially hanging off of her, and as this light from Ami hits her, it refracts back off in sort of mirror ball laser fashion over the whole crowd in these like green and white lights shooting around. People go fucking crazy. They're dancing, they're grinding on each other, they're feeling each other and making out like it's waves coming off of her. And in this sort of curse you, in this wave of like her first big performance thrown out there, I think Moirai, before we come into exactly what you're doing, I think this like wave from her is washing over you. This passion is sort of like reaching its fingers into your brain, and I'm afraid. I'm curious to find out what you're afraid might happen here.
Oh,
yes, there's the situation in front of you. There's the influence of this like performance and set sort of lust and passion hitting you. What do you think might go wrong in this moment?
Oh man. Hard to think of any one thing.
Well, I mean, narrow it down to you. What are you afraid you might do wrong here?
Oh. I'm afraid I might lash out at Zoe.
Awesome. Well, why don't you roll with cold and let's find out how that goes.
Hopefully very poorly. That is a 10.
You people are the best gods.
Keep rolling with cold. You can try other things. Branch out.
So you keep your cool. You gain insight and get to ask me a question. Who else just rolled a 10 plus on a keep your cool? And I don't think I gave you your question.
Was it me?
I think so. Yeah. So Alex, think about your question real quick. Tyr, what would your insight into the situation be here?
Oh, I guess like Zoe's intent for this evening. I think he'd be curious to know that.
Okay.
Slash, should he be jealous? Does he need to protect Apep? I have so many questions.
Well, which one is it? You going for her intent for the evening or what?
Okay. Shit. I'll ask. Should I be jealous? Should I be jealous?
Of who?
Of Zoe.
Let's see. Should you be jealous? Probably not, or at least not yet. Should you be worried? I mean, certainly. In the sense of, like, how to put this? She doesn't love Jamie. She just can't let go and can't figure out a way to exist without him watching her.
That makes total sense.
Take your cue of jealousy there as you will. I'm not quite sure how Tyr would feel about that. But that will give you a +1 forward against Zoe or this situation in some vague way. And Moirai, what insight would you gain from the situation?
Yeah, how pissed is Zoe that we're like having a brawl in the middle of her performance?
When Apep breaks through the crowd and tackles Ami, you feel, because you're sort of like resisting these waves of emotion coming off of her. You feel like the passion and satisfaction and lust just like spike as soon as Apep's fist hits Ami. What is happening right there is everything she wants.
Oh man.
So, all of that in mind, what do you do, Moirai?
I mean, I came here to fuck with Zoe, so I guess I better fuck with Zoe.
How are you gonna fuck with Zoe? You gonna fuck with her? You gonna fuck with her plans?
Yeah, I was gonna, do some nice calm counting from 1 to 4.
Oh, I'm so excited. So, tell us exactly what problem you're trying to solve and how this is going to solve it, and then talk to me about consequences.
Yeah, well, you see, Zoe is nowhere near angry enough for my tastes. Like, we haven't ruined anything whatsoever. So, then you chop us. There's 1. There's a moment of hesitation before 2. A flash of guilt before 3. And then fury in the eyes on 4. As the cables holding all of the equipment on the stage come to life, rear up into the air, and smash themselves down around Zoe, destroying the stage and everything on it.
One of the things I absolutely adore about the Moirai and the way that you play her, Alex, that Zer, press him. Very sorry. The way that you play Zer is that every time I ask you a question about the Moirai's intent or inner life or thought process, the answer is always wildly unexpected.
There's 3 of them in there. A lot of thoughts to go through.
The answer, Zoe is not nearly angry enough, is just beautiful. It is its own perfect black butterfly causing a hurricane of destruction somewhere on the other side of the globe. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So, why don't you talk to me about consequences?
Let's have a look. I mean, I always like it takes on a life of its own. It's always a fun one. And, this isn't nearly chaotic enough, so let's attract another god to the scene.
Well, I mean, I feel pretty certain about the second part. Give me a moment to think about the first part. But yeah, so all of the equipment sort of tumbles. The cables are coming up after Zoe. Yeah, give me a little bit more, like how is this humiliating, driving her insane? Ramp her up a little.
Oh, maybe let's go for some, as she's trying to grab the microphone, just pulled a little further and further and further until she accidentally falls into the water.
So you trip her off the front of the stage?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, so you see her fall off the front of the stage. There's this splash. The green light suddenly cuts out, and it's this sort of glaring white moment from Ami shining through the crowd. The wave of emotion sort of cuts off from people, until exploding up out of the water is this explosion of sand coming up from the depths, sort of swirling out of the leading edge of it, the sand peeling away from her face, is Zoe Set, her hair just soaked. The jewels and the chainmail and all of the perfect glitter very awry and sort of crazy. And she's just zooming down the beach in this tidal wave of sand that is just throwing people to the side carelessly, coming through the crowd to have words. So, who got punched last? It was Ami, wasn't it?
Yep.
Ami, I think you should react, and Tyr, be thinking about what you might want to do, but just know, in all of this, this is all your fault. Ami.
So the options are so good here. I can either punch Apep with the power of the sun,
Awesome.
or I can do a miracle and let Amaterasu out.
Also awesome.
But I think in the spirit of the moment, punch with the power of the sun is absolutely the way to go. Now, this isn't the best way to hurt Apep, but Ami's not so good at shutting people down. So, power of the sun it is.
All right. So yeah, you going for a lash out physically, or do you have a Sasquatchy move?
Nope, lash out physically. And technically, my glasses burned away, but I think when you're punching with the power of a sun, aim is not that important.
No. I think your target being on top of you sort of helps right now.
Yeah, because I do get a -2 to anything that involves eyesight right now.
Well, I don't know. We haven't seen a downside from that move. Why not? Let's bring it in here.
Okay.
There's light shining everywhere. There's shadows. Apep is made of shadow. Like, maybe you don't see his head exactly right.
Okay. Yes! Ami fails!
Um,
I'm so mean to her.
all right, so you. What is give me a little visual on the miracle-ish end of this? Like, what does it look like to punch Apep with the sun?
Oh, it is. Oh, fuck. Like, I think I swing, and then, like, the idea is, like, right before I connect, the sun that's right at my forehead goes right in front of my fist.
Nice.
So I think probably I get my timing wrong. What could go wrong with this sun being in the wrong place?
So yeah, you swing forward at Apep, but Apep is just like snake-like, slides out of the way, not even close. Like he's just sort of lazily leaning out of the way as your fist goes um, past him and down, sort of harmlessly into the sand. Where the heat of the sun there explodes out as these shards, globs of molten glass go flying out from the beach in all directions. So, all four of you can take a harm. But more distressing, maybe for Ame, are the screams and pain of the people, the crowd, as they're burned. You smell like singed flesh. You hear people running and screaming away from here.
Oh, maybe I'll regret that later. But right now, I'm a big pile of rage.
Tyr, this is definitely all your fault.
Oh my lord. I think the stat is like Tyr definitely has bits of glass embedded into his naked torso now. Yes.
Hot.
It is hipster abs, or in indie whispery indie hipster abs. And actually, no, Second Stevens is pretty buff. Like, I don't know if you've seen him. If that works out. Anyway, I think Tyr. Oh man. Yeah, I think like Tyr. I mean, this is very apocalyptic, right? Like the sun is gone.
Yeah, that whole bit was very odd. It's now glowing under the molten sand at the moment. Things have
Yeah.
gone weird.
Yeah, and I'm torn. I kind of want to perform a miracle to get it all to stop because this is all my fault. Everyone's hurt and dying, and it's all my fault. Um, and I've got to fix it, even though I can't make it perfect. Even though everyone will remain hurt and injured and dark on the inside.
Is that what you do? Do you try and use your godly miracles to stop this? Do you cry out? You could try and change everybody's mind right now.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna cry out. Like it's this very like vulnerable, angelic plea to like stop.
You want to give a performance?
Yes. So I got really excited and choked on my hair.
All right.
Totally give a performance.
So yeah, give us some godly special effects on performance here.
Oh man. Okay. Oh god, I hate myself so much right now.
Do it.
So I think like I think we have Tyr like plea everyone to stop, and it's with like such a visceral force. And I think he's like sort of illuminated by this very like odd, like sickly sandy glow, like as he's doing it. Just a man, like his wings are gone. And of course, like out of nowhere, like he slings his banjo around his back, right? And it has like poised. It's still the same one that like he hurt Apep with, because he can never throw that away. For it is a marker of how much he deeply hurt Apep, and he can never forgive himself for that. Yeah, the banjo of peace and self-loathing. And I think like as Tyr is giving this performance, he tried to like sort of like walk backwards, and like where Zoe like was pushed off of the stage, he takes a step back and he falls away like into the water, which like comes up, right, to like support him, kind of like Venus. He looks very Venus right now. Sort of like half naked and bloody, like willing people with this banjo, with this like angelic solo performance. Oh, I'm sorry.
Amazing. So, like, put it into a single sentence. What are you trying to communicate here? Is it stop fighting? Is it all of this is pointless? Is it love and peace forever?
Oh man, like I don't think it can be live in peace forever. For love is
really either.
I think this is like a. It's almost a blend of like stop fighting because death is inevitable, and why would we force it upon ourselves prematurely when we could be like not loving each other, but like coexisting. I guess probably more of the former, with like a smidge of the latter.
I gotcha. Well, roll with dark. Let's see how this goes.
I am not a dark soul. Take these couple dice. Oh, that's a 5, and my 6 and a dark. My dark is -1, so it's a 5.
Amazing. Oh God, I'm so torn. So many choices.
hurt my indie Venus bloody artist.
Okay. I'm gonna go with this. So, Tyr, what does it feel like as you try and surge up from the ground and a prophecy hits you out of nowhere?
It feels like getting punched in the face by an army.
So yeah, I think as she gets another blow in on you, your eyes roll back in your head, your vision blanks out, and you feel sensation from all sides as you're thrown into a prophecy, a new vision. And I'm curious to hear from Ryan, because Tyr is seeing a vision of Apep's death. What does it look like? As much or as little context as you want. If you want to name people or places, that's fine. If you just want to give like an emotion at the end, that's fine too.
I think the most striking thing is that normally when someone manages to, punch Tyr enough that he is knocked out of his snake form, it kind of burns away like mist and sun or like digital distortion, and you see a Jamie looking much worse for wear. And this time it's just not moving, and there's no Jamie anymore.
So yeah, you see this moment, you see this end, you know it's the death of Apep, of Jamie. You don't know when, where, what, but you're pretty sure it's your fault.
Oh no!
But you get an XP.
Yay! Patrick.
And so you tried to send this message over the audience, like you felt it spreading out from you. You see the people around you, like the ones that are screaming because they got burned by molten glass, calm down. They're just sort of whimpering now. The people around them, everybody seems to calm down for just a moment before you sort of black out, and everybody else hears the sounds of metal breaking crystal as erupting up out of the molten glass sand hole in the beach are these giant prismatic crystal shards that shoot up into the air, and riding on the top of the biggest one is Ares. Like anime Buster Sword sized crystal sword slung over her back as she looks over the crowd as they're calming down and says, "Oh fuck no. No, no, no. We're not nearly done playing yet." And leaps up into the air doing a flip, landing with the sword down in the sand, and just lets off a wave of light and sound and glossolalia and performance, and everybody's eyes around her go glittering crimson. Apep. Zoe lands with a knee into your nose. Go ahead and take a harm and lots of sand.
Darkest self.
Why don't you read Your Darkest Self to us?
So,
Is the subtitle of this session.
just a refresher, I transform into a terrifying snake creature. I crave power and dominance, and those are earned through bloodshed. If anyone attempts to stand in your way, they must be brought down and made to bleed. You escape your darkest self when you wound someone you really care about, or the sun rises, whichever happens first.
So when Apep came to the fore previously, we saw you turn into this like 15-foot tall cobra thing, like it was very much just a giant snake. Is this wolf out transformation any different? Is it that same thing? What do we see here?
I think it's pretty similar in that as she knees him in the face, some of that skin just kind of peels off. Like it was a really thin papery layer over him, and he just again starts spilling out of the left behind Jamie thing. Like she breaks the sunglasses over him, and you see that there's no human eyes there. He's got the fully snake eyes, and just kind of rolling transformation as he is then going to try to lash out at her if I'm allowed to move.
Seems fair.
Yay.
Yes,
Fuck.
that's
I
problems.
rolled an 8, which means that I don't even get XP for not being awesome at this for once.
Well, you did just get knee punched into the sand, you know. So let's see. On a 7 to 9, you harm them, but choose one below.
Well, I'm already my darkest self, so I can't double choose that. I'm gonna say the MC decides how bad the harm turns out.
All right. I think how bad the harm turns out is that as you spill out of your skin into your coils and blackness and everything, Tyr, who is there just blind, gets knocked flying back into Ares' crystal formation, and Tyr can go ahead and take a harm.
Does this also trigger my big reveal?
Oh, yeah.
When you reveal your true form to someone, or at this point, literally everyone, I guess, they gain a string on you. Again. Forever. If they accept you as you truly are, they mark experience. If they reject you, take +1 forward against them.
All right, so everybody mark a string on Opep, and we'll hit real quick around the circle. Tyr, accept or reject?
Of course, I accept APEP in any form APEP takes because they lie so deep within my heart, even though I know it is against my best interest and against the best interest of the world, really, but I can't help it.
Is that because lying here, broken and bleeding on the ground from his own blows, you believe in him?
Of course. And if anything, the hurt that I felt at his hand is much deserved for everything is also my fault.
Oh my god.
and I deserve this as much as I believe in him.
Take an XP for being sad. Ami, accept or reject giant snake monster?
I think Ami always believed that Apep was a bit of a snake, so I think she's accepting that this is the real Jamie.
Mark experience. And Moirai, do you accept or reject this as Apep's true form, true nature?
Well, I mean, we've got to accept everyone's beauty, right? This is just another form of Apep. And also, Apep is kicking ass. Fuck yeah.
So we have Tyr, infinite sadness. It's all his fault. We have Ami. She really knew deep down underneath that you could never be any better than this. And we have Moirai, who is like solidly Team Opep, waving banners and everything. Ooh, pom-poms. So yeah, what was happening there? That was just a big string of stuff. Was that you lashing out at someone?
That was me lashing out at someone because my darkest self was activated, which triggered my big reveal. So yeah.
You're punching a Zoe.
I do a lot when I snake out, apparently, now.
Yeah. Okay. So, Moirai, let's come back to you. There's a giant fucking mess going on. What do you do?
Man. I mean, everything's going according to plan, but
Good.
everyone is looking pretty horrific. So I might need to help people not get murdered by Zoe. So Moirai, for the first time in their life, is going to try throwing a punch.
At who?
It's Zoe.
That's been the answer to many at who's tonight. Oh, yeah. You two nearly immediately regret all of your choices, Apep, and drop out of your darkest self. Almost
I'm still a giant
20
snake.
Oh, yeah. You're definitely still a giant snake. You're just a sad giant snake now.
Tyr and I have swapped roles. It's appropriate.
Sorry, Moirai, you were also lashing out at Zoe.
Yep.
Yes?
Gotta keep the violence flowing.
So what does that look like? How is the Moirai lashing out?
I think it's just this, like, looking around at all of this chaos and, like, seeing, like, Apep get kneed in the face and just Tyr being thrown into crystals. It's like, oh crap, people are actually getting hurt now. And just, like, a desperate, wild swing. No, like, fancy threads or anything. Just, like, a gut reaction of, oh fuck, this is a bit too far.
It's never too far.
Of course it's never too far. But the Moirai doesn't know that. And the fun thing is, I got a 6. Yeah. So, you come, oh, I can do everything. I love this moment. I'm sorry. Just give me a moment to sort of, like, drink this in. I need to remember this feeling. It's beautiful. So, you come flying in at Zoe, who is in awkward grappling with a giant snake. No one's looking cool at the moment there. And you wind up, you have this swing going, like, you're not quite sure how to hold your fist exactly. Is your thumb inside or outside? Like, no one can ever remember. Like, are you supposed to punch in the cheek, or like you're just doing it? And you get, so you can like almost feel her face in your mind's eye. You see like like it's gonna be amazing. Except of course that it's not Zoe's face that you punch, it's Ares's forearm. It's held up, it's covered in this like spiky crystal growth. It hurts. Go ahead and take a harm. As Ares looks at you, like the red is back in her eyes. She's smiling, like glitter blood dripping between her teeth. You can see in your sort of way with strings, you can see all of this emotion, this violence, this passionate need for destruction flowing out of her into the crowd, reverberating and coming back in 100-fold. Like she is feeding on this fountain at the moment, as she stares at you and says, "You know what? You've been fucking ordering me around ever since Parvati's funeral. All the good that we could do for the world. Well, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck the world. Fuck good. I just want to have fun." And she grabs you by the front of your outfit, brings you up, and headbutts you in the nose. Go ahead and take another harm. Dark itself. Oh yeah.
We are the darkest of the darkest self.
All right. Why don't you read off the Moirai's darkest self to us?
Your dull hunger sharpens. You can't focus on anything else but feeding. And in addition to your peculiar cravings, you recognize something else. that primordial hunger, which connects all hungers. Usually it says flesh, but I went for the threads of life. You escape your darkest self once you've overindulged or you've been locked out long enough to regain composure.
So, what does it look like on the Moirai's face, body, anima, banner, whatever, as you go darkest self?
Oh. Oh man, I hadn't even thought about this. I thought I was so safe.
No one's safe.
I like the idea of like the thread coming inwards and like weaving itself throughout the Moirai's body in this like visceral red, almost like the muscles on the inside being reflected on the out through these threads stitched into the body.
Oh, that's so good. Wow. This is amazing, you guys. This is just the ultimate enrolling disaster. You could believe in people, or everyone could go darkest self. You know, one or the other. Yeah. So you're grappling with Ares now, and swing back around to Ami. I'm pretty sure someone punched you recently.
Actually, yeah. Jamie punched me, and then I tried to punch him and exploded a bunch of glass everywhere. And then Apep punched Zoe. So
With his teeth.
with his teeth. So I think it's miracle time. Ami starts a count in her head, and she turns to Apep and she says, you want to experience a world without my light? Wish granted. And the miracle I'm doing is no light from the sun will reach Apep's eyes.
Interesting. So what do you want to go with for consequences there?
I just want to make sure. Is that okay with you, Ryan? Is that too over the top?
I think I just muted myself, even though I wasn't muted. I'm so bad at this. So you're just blinding Apep?
Yeah,
for a
pretty
while?
much.
That's totally cool with me. Nothing could go wrong with a snake creature that can't see what it's biting.
No, that'll probably be great.
And I think this satisfies my condition of darkest self of hurting him way more than I meant to, because that's pretty mean.
And just after he got control of himself, too. You're terrible. You're as bad as Tyr.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't have to worry about that for a while because my god's personality is taking over for a time.
All right.
Oh God, should I just make this really fucked up and give it a life of its own?
Yeah, we've seen that one before from you.
Yeah. Oh no, someone sees what you don't want them to. That's always a good one.
Do I have another prophecy?
Hmm?
I was like, do I have another prophecy about Ami turning evil?
Let's see. So, describe what this looks like as you blind giant snake Apep.
So I think Apep's eyes, like just a strip of like literally a strip right in front of Apep's eyes, goes completely dense black, like black hole black. Yeah, I think that works. And I think to maneuver into the options, Ami stops glowing, but is now in a Japanese dress.
And yeah, so we still have you in your darkest self or not?
I was treating that as fulfilling it, but if we don't, I mean, I was going to have Amaterasu take over anyway, so.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to what do you think Amaterasu's presence desires look like as opposed to or in contrast to your darkest self?
Amaterasu wants to do two things right now.
Hmm.
Calm down the situation and bring order, and have a fitting child to rule the world.
All right, that's an odd choice.
That's very much within the myth of Amaterasu.
All right. So, someone sees what you don't want them to. I'm not sure. I'll think about that one. But yeah, so as you do that, Opep Snake begins sort of thrashing around blindly, I think, and Zoe standing up from the sand, sort of shaking it out of her hair and looking a bit more put together again, leans around the coils, catches your eye, and winks at you with a little like, "Thank you," and goes in. Since you've so brilliantly set her up after Giant Snake Opep. So, Giant Snake Opep, as you're trying to dodge, survive, whatever the rain of blows from Zoe, I'm interested in a keep your cool and what you think, what you're afraid of happening here.
But did she
Uh-oh.
accept or reject me as a giant snake?
No, she totally rejected you. This is way too bordering on cool to be Jamie.
So I'm currently outside the sun and have a +1 to stuff against her because I can't see the sun. So that gives me a +3 to this roll, and I just want to rub that in against her that she fails so hard all the time.
But what are you afraid might happen?
Fuck, what am I afraid might happen? What is it she's trying to do again? Just, like, straight up murder me?
I think beat you to a pulp in front of the crowd would be sufficient. You know, so long as everyone is watching.
I'm afraid I'm somehow gonna hurt Tyr in all of this again.
God, I've never wanted anyone to fail more.
I rolled before talking, unfortunately, and I rolled a 3, so my +3 only brings me to a 6.
But
Oh, wait. I've got a
still-
-1, so I only got a 5.
Do you want me to believe in you, or do you want to hurt me? Because I deserve to be hurt.
Alpep wants you to believe in yourself because, come on, you're not that terrible. He's that terrible. But yeah, whatever you want here.
I am that terrible, and you're great and wonderful.
I think you should believe in me and not get hurt more, but I don't know, whatever you want to do.
No,
I think you should definitely get hurt more.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why does this playbook suck so much? No, I want to believe in Opep so much. Yeah. I'm gonna. Can I do that retroactively? I don't know. Yes, I can. I sense when you roll less than a 10.
So you're gonna believe in him?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I can describe what this looks like too if you want to.
No, I think I know what this looks like.
Awesome.
So you 7 to 9, the MC will describe how your actions would leave you vulnerable. You can choose to back down or go through with it. So the go through with it is you're trying to not get pulverized / murdered on a beach by Zoe. The leave you vulnerable is that if you go through with this, if you dodge out of her way, like you see this perfect chain of events going off, and things are going to go crazy in a sort of like chain reaction, and yeah, Tyr's definitely going to get hurt.
Does that somehow recursively give me a +1 to the roll because I get a +1 to protecting Tyr?
No.
I mean, fair, but also, heck. Then, whichever one it is that doesn't end up with Tyr getting hurt is the one that Opep's got to go through with because he's a sad snake.
So you dodge out of the way of Zoe's blows, back, forth, back, and as you're like leaning and twisting your coils out of the way of the last one, you smash against Ares as she's locked in combat with the Moirai there. Her sword goes swinging wild, and you see just in like slow motion in your mind, the sword is coming down towards Tyr. He doesn't see it at all. And as he's sort of spinning through things, his right arm goes flying out to the side. The sword is coming down exactly at his wrist. And I think it just like grazes his skin and starts to slice as you throw yourself at it and end up with Ares' sword stabbed straight through your giant snake throat. Whatever harm you haven't marked, go ahead and mark that.
I had a fresh 0 harm. Do you want me to take all 4 again?
I do.
Oh no.
So, what would you like to choose for skirting death?
I'm gonna lose all of my strengths. I don't think I have any leverage over anyone over all of that showing how, things I don't want people to see. And also getting a sword accidentally smacked right through my head. Goodness.
Yeah. So I think the sword comes down, pins Snake Neck to the blood to the sand, to the beach, and there are these like pixelated digital spurts of blood coming out of the wound and sort of like fragging out before they get to the ground, as this entire snake, like all of the mass of it, its coils start to go up in this digital dissolve smoke until there's nothing left there on the ground but like this giant crystal sword stabbed directly through Opep's outfit, and Opep is just gone. As I think you're sort of reforming, painfully fresh skin peel sort of feeling in your mopey cave, and like don't feel like coming out right now. Everyone's forgotten about Opep. Moirai! You're holding your own against Ares, and that nonsense happened. What do you do? I mean,
Ares.
Opep did just get murderated completely in front of you.
Yeah, but I mean, there's threads to be gotten. Gotta get your priorities straight. Is Ares still, like, coming at me?
I think you're not quite sure. She seems to have paused. Maybe she's trying to yank her sword back out of the beach. You can't really tell. She's still sort of growling. And the people around this whole crowd is starting to close in, rush inward towards y'all. Red, crimson,
shit.
glittering rage eyes everywhere.
Duh. I want to do something violent, but I'm not sure if it's a lash out or a miracle. Probably lash out. But miracle's flavored. So
All right.
I think
Who are you lashing out at?
Ares.
Lovely.
I think Moirai is going to reach out and, like, from the center of Ares' chest, grab this invisible strand of, like, shimmering a light that only the Moirai can see and just bite down right on it.
Amazing. All right. Roll with volatile.
That's a 7.
So on a 7 to 9, you harm them, but choose one.
I'm already a darkest self. So why don't you decide how bad the harm turns out?
All right. So we're going to pause right there and move around to Ami. You just saw Uphep just get stabbed to death in the middle of the beach. What are you doing? How are you feeling?
Well, I think you're asking the wrong person here.
True. I'm sorry. I was asking Ami. What's Amaterasu doing?
I think she's appalled at all of the violence accompanying her entrance into the world.
This crowd of worshippers does seem to be reacting oddly.
So I think I think it's time everyone has a timeout, and I think pillars of flame just separate and keep everyone separated. I think Amaterasu is going to do a miracle.
All right. I'm willing to let that go under a keep your cool, I think.
Okay.
If you want to do this without setting columns of flame on some people accidentally.
That's completely fair. And a complete failure.
Okay. We're also
that
going to
was
come back
a
to that.
5.
Delightful. And Tyr. Opep, dead forever. Ares laughing. Moirai laughing. People laughing. It's probably all your fault.
It's probably all my fault. It is all my fault. I think there's a lot of cognitive dissonance going on in Tia's head, because I don't think this looks like the prophetic vision I had where Apep died, and yet the like holy fire of justice is burning so deep within Tyr, because Ares has gone against all of the morals that I've ascribed to for so long, and Jesus fucking Christ, this may be all inevitable and we may all die, but you don't have to fucking hurt people in the process. So I think, like, either I'm gonna do a miracle or I'm gonna lash out at her, but either way I'm stabbing her with the sword.
Amazing. I don't know. It kind of comes down to which list of consequences are you more interested in seeing.
Ooh, good question. Let's have a quick look. I haven't seen Tyr take over, and this feels like a sort of more of the wrath of Tyr as like a god of justice, adjudicating a breach of morals, plus his boyfriend got hurt. So maybe it's I feel like I'm good with it being a miracle. Yeah.
All right.
Which totally means like the 1, 2, 3, 4 is like like the shaking like fingers is like with rage, right? Is like a tear goes to like fuck up Ares.
Nice. And so, yeah, what are your what is this miracle look like? Like, how is it solving your problem?
Yeah.
And what are the consequences you're going to choose?
Ooh, I'm sorry. Okay, either way, I think like Tyr does his like low breathy, like indie, shaky, angry, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and he clicks his fingers. And then unlike the weird like sand light and unlike the sunlight, this is like pure neon white, like harsh light that just lights up the whole place and blinds everyone, and envelops Ares completely. And I think, I'm not sure how much can I hurt her a lot? So I was tossing around with like either just binding her, or like doing her a lot of harm back.
Either are options.
I want to hurt her. She hurt up. Maybe I guess totally like while everyone's blind, right? Like all you see is a very like angelically silhouetted Tyr as he grabs like the sword that she used to stab Apep with, and you get kind of like the overshot of him just like plunging it into like Ares's like glittery bloody chest to contrast like this very harsh neon white light.
Wow. And what are your consequences? You talked about your god.
Yeah, my god is for sure taking over. I'm my god takes over for a time. I'm good with the miracle taking on a life of its own. I feel like this is a cleansing holy fire of justice. Like I'm good if this like extends beyond Ares, because everyone's like hurting everyone. Everyone is being so violent. Like yeah, everyone is dark and tainted and corrupted, and it just needs to be cleansed.
All right. So, yeah. And what role was it that you failed on or missed on, Dave?
Keep my cool.
That was it. So, I think what happens is these fires, they wash out over the beach, and a number of them, instead of like putting up these pillars, these walls in between people, they land on people's heads, and instead of like burning flesh heads going around, they form into these like crowns of fire that are coming off of them. You see the golden light sink down into their eyes. They're glowing as well. And the dozen or so people that this happens to, they look up with their glowing eyes and turn in towards the center of what's going on. Moirai, you bite down through this thread, and you feel where that like perfect cycling of rage was going out from Ares and through the crowd and back into her, just pumping her up in this endless loop. It goes off, it goes wrong. You break the connection, and the power suddenly starts spilling everywhere. And God damn, I've already forgotten. Tyr, what was your horrible contribution in here? That's it. Takes on a life of its own thing.
Yeah, it takes on a life of its own, and Tyr takes over for some time.
Yeah. So you stab this crystal sword down into her. It pierces through her chest, almost the same place where Apep had gotten stabbed. It goes down into the sand of the beach and sort of sticks there at this angle with her suspended up on it. And as instead of blood, it's this glittering crystal substance that comes out. She's coughing. Her whole body begins to be suffused with this red as like the outside of her hardens into this crystal shell, until it's almost like this like sculpture in the beach of this crystal sword stabbed through this red crystal body. And she comes dropping out the bottom of it, naked, covered in blood and now sand, coughing, standing up and sort of wiping her mouth and sort of smiling with the, it'll take more than that to take me down. And these 12 people come rushing in and descend on her. This rage fueling, like just foaming out of their mouth in blood, glitter, spittle, these fire crowns on their head as they descend on her and just in front of your eyes rip her to shreds. All 12 of them have completely flat, matte black eyes as they're tearing into her. I think that's probably where we're going to end the performance and move on to epilogues. Because that could not have gone better / worse. Whew. So do people feel ready for epilogues? Do you want to take a break real quick and come back?
I think I saw a call for a bio break.
Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and take we'll come back at 10 minutes to the hour.
Awesome. I love that song because it starts with him counting in 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, I hadn't even noticed that. That is good. Ah, it's adorable. So I love that everyone picked up on the subtle visual metaphors from the Dead Weather song that I sent out, and really brought that in.
Unlike that song, we hit each other a few times.
They hit each other a bunch of times in that song.
The thing I realized though was the only times Ami was particularly successful at hitting people was when she wasn't really trying to hurt people.
Yeah, dice are evil little fuckers. So, gonna go around. We're gonna hit epilogues for here. This can be immediate aftermath. This can be unexplained amount of time in the future. But who feels like they know what their scene is gonna be?
So I need to ask another player a question before I can figure out my epilogue.
Let's do it then.
So Lauren, Amaterasu is going to proposition Tyr, specifically saying that they think that Amaterasu thinks that the two of them should create a baby, so that would be born before Ami passes. Does Tyr go along with this? Keep in mind, and we can X card this, Ami is not necessarily on board with this idea.
Oh, yeah, if Ami's not on board, I feel like I have to respect the consent of like all parties involved. Plus, that is a very, very good like Dragon Age Origins ending story.
Now, keep in mind, the way that Amaterasu wants to do this is because part of her myth is she's basically the grandmother of the first emperor of Japan. So she thinks that creating a child with the god of justice will create a new emperor of the world.
I see. Yeah. I really want to. I just am not comfortable like going along with it if Ami isn't.
The way I would play it is Ami would be understandably conflicted about this. But yeah, I agree. There's a odd consent thing because on one hand, it's like, how different are these two beings?
I think it's sort of interesting to have it in there as a thing in the background because, like, Ami is still very early in her 2 years. This could be like a question that goes out there in the sort of like Tyr instantly rejects it. But were this story to go forward, were we to see more and more months of like desperation and weird happenstance come up between these people, like we might see this question come back again and again and echo in some really tempting ways as like our time is counting down towards that year mark or something. But yeah, I totally respect we're not going to go into that now.
Yeah, I can totally see that being like a recurring arc that sort of like comes back as we grapple with like mortality and what it means to like be alive and to like leave a legacy and stuff for sure.
And so that's cool headcanon for stuff.
Yeah, totes.
So yes, depending on the answer to that made a big difference on how I was going to see Ami's epilogue. So not ready.
All right, cool. Someone else feel particularly led, or I will choose a name out of a hat. I have no hats nor names written down, but I am going to choose Ryan. Silence can save none of you.
How dare you? Yeah, I think indeterminate amount of time later. It could be like the next day. It could be later. We don't know how long. We see Apep looking sort of, better than he was before. I mean, his skin is in one piece. That's an improvement. Eyes are still kind of wrong. Um, just sort of hesitantly entering this, tunnel of love ride Tyr has been hiding in. Like, okay, fine, I'm gonna go see how he's doing, since apparently the wait in my cave for months has never worked, sort of thing. And he's gonna be, I don't know how far you want these to go or anything, but just the, okay, but are you okay? Sort of thing.
I mean, you can do a little dialogue in there if you want, but I'm curious to know as you're showing up to try and like check on him slash apologize maybe slash lure him out. Well, like, what did you bring as a gift or a peace offering or an enticement or something?
My amazing self isn't enough of a gift upon the universe. Um, let's see, goodness.
If it helps. Oh, so I was gonna do my epilogue like immediately after like what happened, so that could like be like almost the pre-epilogue going in.
For it, sure.
That works.
I
Sure.
will steal your notes.
So I'm gonna do this kind of like, I don't know if you guys have played Good Society, but like if the epistolatory phase where you sort of like give someone a letter. So I'm gonna monologue. But I think the shot of this is again, Tyr spends a lot of time being silhouetted. Tyr is like silhouetted against the mouth of like the new moping cave, and I think we see like the crystal sword clatter to like the ground, and like light sort of bounces off it as he like discards it, and he's still got bits of glass in his chest, and like the blood has started to mat on his like skin, and I think he just like launches into this monologue that he's been holding on to for the whole fight, because it's just been so violent and quick that he hasn't had time to express like how he feels at Apep, even though Apep's like the reason he feels so conflicted and distraught and broken and wrong and vulnerable and at fault for everything. Yes, now he's popping in the mug pip, and I think he says to Apep like, I've done everyone such an injustice by not speaking out when I should have, for not taking action, for being silent and stagnant when we could have been acting this whole time. And it feels wrong to say that it hurts me so deeply to see you hurt this way, but it is my fault. Your hurting is my fault, and I will never live that down. I'm so sorry, Apep. I don't deserve you. I don't deserve any of this. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve your love. And yet, I would feel the most regret with all, like, of all, if I didn't tell you how much I love you and how much I value you and how much value you bring to this world, this earth. These 2 years are better off with you and them, and you're a gift. And I'm sorry I stole your genes. And then I think he sort of like turns away and slopes off to the tunnel of love without waiting for a reply.
Beautiful. All right, so Apep, you're showing up at the Tunnel of Love.
So, alter what I said. He shows up in the tunnel of love, and just there's a moment of hesitation because he doesn't hang out in the tunnel of love. Who knows what Tyr has done to the place? It's probably tacky and neon or something now. But Gerda bolsters himself, charges on in, and my goodness, words. As soon as he spots Tyr, he's like, okay, so first, shut up. Everything you said is wrong. And he's gonna kiss Tyr. And then second, just keep the fucking pants, okay?
Beautiful.
It's so perfect.
Dave, do you have an idea for a Matarasu?
So it kind of seems like Ares died not the most popular person in the Pantheon. So I'd like to ask a question. Who here would go to Ares's funeral?
I mean, I would.
Looks like Moira would. Thor definitely would.
I think Tyr would but in taking the moral high ground.
And there's no way that Set would not go, so Set's there.
Yeah, I mean, I assume Thor would be there.
Yeah, Thor is there.
I don't want to do an epilogue with everyone in it. Sorry, guys. It's just I think that makes epilogues too complicated.
Well, then is it some, like, do you catch one person at the funeral? A small scene at the funeral?
I think maybe this is like a month after the funeral. Like maybe at the grave unveiling. And I don't want to act.
What does Ares' grave look like, do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely just a stone sword jutting out of the ground.
Nice.
And I think, I think the scene is just Thor there and Amy coming up behind her. And Amy putting an arm around Thor as she starts crying, and cut it at that. Feels appropriate for her.
Yeah, I like that. So I think as one I'll throw in there, it's also an immediate aftermath. You see just sort of a silent shot off on the opposite edge of the beach from where the moat cave is. From behind some of the rocks up at the sea, Zervan sort of comes out from behind a shadow, reaches down, and brushes at the bottom of his cloak, where there's some splashes of molten glass up around the bottom of his cloak and his the hem of his sort of kaftani thing. He brushes some drops of molten glass off of there, stands up, breathes a deep breath, and opens his eyes, which are clear, not bloodshot like you've seen them before. Pulls up a sleeve, and as it gets up above his wrist, there are all these like dark black veins, sick and poisoned looking, that are running down his arm. And they just recede. They pull back up. His skin looks healthy and actually even a little bit smoother and younger underneath. And it comes up to his face as he breathes out again, opens his eyes for just a moment, and they're completely flat black before he blinks them again. And they're normal. And he walks away. And then we'll come to Moray.
Oh man. Oh man. think we'll go for an interview an indeterminate amount of time after the funeral with Atropos. I think the interview will be like asking about Atropos and like why he does not funerals, performances to like mess with people, to instill fear in them and all that. I think Atropos just says, "There's a nice calm tone. I just want the people to remember. My name is Atropos, the god of death. Make the most of now because I'm coming for you." And then like rolls up a sleeve to reveal crystals woven into the skin.
Oh my god, that's gruesomely amazing. And so, yeah, we get a final splash page. Get our last view of the Pantheon wheel for this arc of the story. We fade to black. That was so good, you guys.
Oh my god.
We're terrible.
You're all amazing, and that was a beautiful disaster. And hey, I think it's fairly impressive, Monsterhearts wise, that we as a group managed to not have it devolve into nothing but mass hitting each other combat until the very last session. Oh, that was so good.
This is also the only game of Monsterhearts where I've seen everyone hit their darkest self in the same session.
The worst cascade of horrible dominoes ever. So, I would like to do some debrief wrap up here. I know we've done wishes and stars along the way, but here at the end of this one, I think I'm a little more interested in like a roses and thorns approach to it. And things I'm especially interested in hearing like feedback about, especially like thorns or problems, is anything about the particular like the new moves or how I integrated them or stuff that was themes that were going on for the game, or bits of like how your playbook and you didn't interact with the game particularly well, how like bits of Monsterhearts that didn't help you out, you felt like. But we'll start with Ryan again.
What did I do to you?
But we'll go around, we'll do thorns, and then we'll go back around and do roses.
Okay. So, bits of Monsterhearts that didn't integrate terribly well. I feel like I didn't really need or use any of my moves. Except Big Reveal, which I kind of threw in at the last minute, because I was like, odds are I'm going to be a snake, so I will ask everyone how they feel about me being a snake. But that was also sort of okay with me, because I kind of picked them as flavor, and they informed what Jamie was going to be. And like the sex move not really working for OPEP was sort of okay, so there's a strong OPEP Jamie divide, and it will work. So I don't know, I mean, take from it what you will. I guess my major question coming away from this is that it's obvious how much love and attention you put into it, and I'm curious how well it would run if it wasn't done by someone who was so keyed into the whole tone and feel of Wicked, because my goodness, I don't know if anyone at home will ever see them, but like the descriptions of the gods and everything are straight out of the beginning of a comic, and those put us perfectly on tone every time. And if I were to run this, I probably wouldn't have ones as good as that. So I don't know. And again, I don't know if it's really a problem or anything so much as a thing I noticed that, where's the moves tab? The Work a Miracle I wanted to do like all of the time, but you can't fail at it, so you can't get any XP. And I didn't manage to level through actual XP gain at any point in this game. I still have 4 out of 5. But but it seemed awesome for big things, but then it was weird that I couldn't really fail them. But then it seemed too harsh for small things. So I was like, if I want to snap and, light a cigarette, I guess that's to turn them on every time if I was just pretending to be Bowie Lucy. But I don't know. I wasn't totally sure how I'd work that in. So I like the move. I was just occasionally looking at it going, I don't think that's what I'm really after. And also I need some XP somehow. And yeah.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, I feel that. And with your playbook, I agree with you. Like, I do think we got a lot of good mileage out of your sex move and your darkest self and sort of the flavoring of the other bits. But it was a shame that like we didn't get a chance to see any of your moves come in until like the big reveal at the very end. So thank you. Lauren?
I have so many ideas. I don't think I have any like thorns per se, just like game stuff that I've noticed. I think the two that come to mind are I guess this depends on like what you want out of it as a designer. But like for example, when doing a performance, it's always with dark, and it's like my dark is stagnantly shit all the time, which like it super makes sense for this unicorn playbook in this game, because this unicorn was all about like trying to encourage like better morals in people and stuff. So like it makes sense that like all of those performances will fail, because it's like, hey guys, let's not fight and let's like have peace and stuff, until it came down. It was like, fuck everyone, like you clearly like just need to be cleansed with holy fire. His like soft words won't do it. Anyway, but so I guess it depends, like, yeah, if you want certain playbooks with certain stat lines to be like shittier at performing compared to like others, because the stat lines are baked into the playbooks. And so like if there are gonna be certain playbooks that are like, I'm an amazing performer because I'm dark as hell, and then it's like the unicorns are like, hey guys, I just listened to my banjo. But it's like one way around that is like when I hacked Monsterhearts recently for Final Fantasy VIII, weirdly enough, one of the moves to like bind a guardian force was like describe your approach, like roll the appropriate stat, and then like pick off of that way, because then you give the player like some autonomy over, do I want to fail this? Like, am I going to approach it in a volatile way, or like a hot, sexy way? Like, how am I trying to like perform and persuade these people? So I can see just depending on what you want, it's like a designer giving the player autonomy to say like, I'm approaching this performance like coldly or whatever, and that might help also like inform their fiction for how they describe like what's going on in this performance as well. That's one thought I had about that move. Again, not a thought, just like what you want out of it as a designer. Do you want sort of certain playbooks to be shit at it, or
I'll say that was definitely a thought process and a back and forth in my head, putting it together, of whether to leave it flexible to approach or whether to tie it to one stat. And so this was sort of a playtesty choice of like, how does tying it to one stat, how does making, like you said, some playbooks inherently better and some playbooks inherently worse work out. So that feedback is super like on point and something I've been wondering about. So thank you. You said you had something else?
Oh yeah. Shit. Fuck. What was the other one? Oh no, it was off of what Ryan said. So, and this is just like this is like fresh off the press out of Lauren's brain, so it might be terrible. But I know that like the way Kyle hacks Wodu characters is like to just if he wants a custom class, just like pick and take bits of Wodu classes and like write custom moves and stuff. So I could see a similar approach for creating playbooks in this sense, where you could approach it from like a god perspective and say, I'm this god, super sneaky, and for that reason I'm going to try and mash up like say the Serpentine and the werewolf, because I can totally see like a lot of the Serpentine like hypnotizing gaze, or like the vampiric like is it just hypnotize? Yeah, I think it was hypnotize. And and to sort of say to people like, look, you've got all your basic moves. Pick like say the werewolf playbook, and then pick a move from the serpentine or something, and just sort of hack and mash stuff together a bit more to fit that. And yeah, that wasn't really helpful, but I could see sort of getting around because certain.
No, that makes sense. I get where you're going coming from there.
Because yeah, like the unicorn is like fucking made for this game, and I think like the serpentine, I think likewise the moves are really built for like Wicked, but then the darkest self and some of the stuff about being torn between family like might not hit on it so much. So like I could see where a game where you want to say like take like I don't know the vampire, because the vampire is all about like what when you go to your darkest self you just are abusive to everyone. I forget exactly what
I mean, probably.
So I could see like mashing together like the serpentine moves with like the vampire base stuff if you wanted to really like sort of sneaky kind of thing. I don't know.
That totally makes sense. Yeah.
That's my two observations. So I've been talking for like way too long, so I'm gonna mute myself.
No, thank you. That was very helpful. David.
So I think overall really well. I think one thing on the emceeing side, and I'm not trying to be like super critical of you, but you know, at the beginning of the session, you mentioned, hey, we really haven't been using strings. I think part of that is the pacing, in that there haven't been that many pauses in the game, you know. Sometimes it's hard for people to recognize, oh, wait, I can use a string. It was really like, okay, we're doing the spotlight here, and now we're doing the spotlight there. And I think, you know, letting that spotlight go a little bit more freeform sometimes will give people an opportunity to say, oh, wait, this is an opportunity for me to do this or that. And that's just what I noticed. It's totally a hard balance, and I don't do it right all the time. You know, I want to say you did a great job running this game. But I know that was one of those things you were concerned about, and I think that's the feedback I have if you wanted to focus on that going forward. As far as the system itself, I liked Work a Miracle, and I really, you know, I actually felt very comfortable with, okay, you know, save it for those big splashy things where something's going to go wrong. And then for the just normal social interactions, stick with the basic moves. I think the Give a Performance and Divine the Past, there's a bit too much written for them, that and that you can really just cut it out and just get a lot closer to the point and simplify it down, and mechanically it would probably come off pretty much the same. Like the setup for Give a Performance, you have to describe your performance and the message, and it just feels like very, very layered in a way that, you know, I think other Monsterhearts moves are way more just pared down and to the point, and like the flavor just comes in naturally. So that's what I was thinking. Ryan, are you seeing my volumes oscillating?
Yeah, it is a little bit weird. It's nothing like overwhelming or anything. No, that's totally fair. The like strings and condition things, I came in talking about it on this session because looking back, it's not a mechanic that I'm great at bringing in. So I'm definitely still working on it. And I do want to, like you said, get better at that. So that's totally true. And then the moves, yeah, I wish I could start from like Avery Alder's point of cutting razor sharp brevity, but that is not my style. So I think it's going to be like a slow whittling to get these moves to a sharper point. But yeah, in an ideal world, I would like them to be not a paragraph and a half long.
Yeah, I would be happy to give a crack at try to do it, edit down, and see how you like it. I'm not sure when I'll have the time to do it, but I'd be willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, if you find yourself bored one afternoon, I would not be adverse to any of you making mechanical suggestions, additions, anything like that. I trust you all in the feel and intent of this at this point to play around with it.
Yeah. As far as playbook moves, I think I was lucky in that I really hit some very easy to trigger moves in the setting, so I felt pretty good. I do think that part of the issue is, since we have all this god stuff, some of those moves in playbooks that don't have as compelling of moves kind of fall on the wayside. Like the werewolf is a super fun playbook, but their moves. The most interesting thing about the werewolf is their darkest self, not their moves. So.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you. Alex, Thorns.
I've been trying real hard to come up with anything, and the best I can think of is in like the character origins. Some of the stuff like looks and like origins don't seem to quite fit with like the tone, because it was like transfer student for a game that isn't necessarily in high school, and like I had to think pretty hard on how I'd work like the original looks and stuff of the ghoul into the character that didn't make them an actual ghoul, because that wasn't the god I'd chosen. But yeah, it's the best I can think of.
No, thank you. That makes sense. And those little like details on the playbooks are the things I'm trying to look for, like where are the sharpest corners. Because especially here at the start, like I didn't want to try and rewrite everything, so it's definitely useful to hear the points that are particularly rewritable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's it for me.
Cool. Let me just write a dozen or so new playbooks. I'm just
Yes,
looking out
easily,
for
right?
next week. So Thorns for me. I definitely also felt I get really into the sort of like building tension and pacing of something, and things end up sort of speeding out of control, but for a very long time. I feel like sometimes I feel like we could have gotten as much chaos out of less time in some scenes, but I'm not sure. And giving like that the third play session, last play session, was particularly difficult for me to figure out the balance on, because I can figure out how to do the pacing if I'm driving things very actively, but I'm still trying to find that rhythm of where to insert things from the storyline, where to insert GM sort of moments when it's just sort of meandering, or self-directed meandering's mean, but self-directed sort of let's follow the emotions where they go sort of player-driven scenes. So that's definitely something I want to work on. And like the wording and elegance of the moves, like we talked about, is something I want to work on. I didn't really have any like spurs or bad moments or hiccups in play from anybody. Like that's the whole thing just went off beautifully. And I'll start a little bit with roses of just I love how much all of y'all were willing to lean into the themes of this and lean into the bad decisions, and to just go with me when I answered like complicated questions about what should I do about this part of your my playbook that doesn't quite make sense with our game. And I just said, fake it, figure it out. We'll do something along the way. I appreciate all of you just picking that up and taking it at face value and figuring it out along the way. Thank you for that. But we'll swing back around to Ryan for roses.
Okay, so rose to Lauren's cosplay for this, because that's awesome. Yay. R.I.P. Tara. I guess that's a spoiler. What was I going to say? Oh, I liked that move to sort of make things fit, because I was looking at him going, yeah, this sort of does what I want, but that has the moves I want. And I went, well, the werewolf darkest self is really, perfect. I just don't know how moonlight fits in. And you were like, well, tell me what that move means to you. And just kind of moved away. And I was like, that's fairly perfect. I'll just make it fit and then move on. And I didn't actually use them, but I did like having them in the background because that whole, Pep can't think clearly around Ami or daylight or whatever worked, and I leaned into that a lot quietly on my own time. And for whatever it's worth, I really like the moves a lot. I didn't engage with them as much as I might have liked to, because I wanted to divine the past on literally everything all the time, but I didn't want to slow us down because it felt like we were on a roll, and I didn't want to say, okay, but stop, and everyone, my feelings now. So yeah, it felt like we were in one arc, and I would have liked to unpack these some more, but Wicked has had like 6 or 7 arcs, and we only did one, and there's only so much you can pack into one. And I guess I can talk as long as I want because no one can stop me. So, Moirai, super awesome. Everything I could have wanted. Straight up punched someone by literally punching them and then like bit their threads. Everything about that was awesome. And on the giving people agency to just make it fit your character. I don't know how. Make it work. I partway through read The Morai's Darkest Self and we just said, oh fuck, no, that's terrible. And I love it. I love everything about it. And it was wonderful. So yeah, I wouldn't say you have to totally rewrite these playbooks at all, because like I was definitely looking at the Hollow going, I could totally play that just as written and I would be almost completely happy with it, I think. And then I was looking at the Ghost going, I would need to edit it, but it would be fun to see how that worked and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm still excited to see how this turns out in play. I want to see what people make happen from it, and I want to see more of it. It's super good. So I had a ton of fun, and I'll shut up now.
Yeah, I definitely think this whole experience and the games going forward, it's giving me a clearer sense of like what to look for in the playbooks of like, oh, this is really going to sing in this setting versus, we may never use your heightened senses sort of move. Lauren, roses.
Can I bushes before the roses? I just want to like
Start at roots and move all the way up.
Just because like having played a lot of Monsterhearts this past month and then having GM'd Monsterhearts for the first time, I totally appreciate like that tension between a player-led agenda and trying to wrap that into like your MC agenda, and like when you push those hard moves, and like I think particularly more so in this game because it is such a like a plot-driven, crazy, like so many political machinations going on in the back with like Zurban and like I know canon-wise theories about like God, death, and what that means, and do you get life and stuff, and like so I think you did a masterful job of wrapping in all of this, is like bleeding into Rose, and I like wrapping in that sort of plot agenda of Wicked to really like push the pacing. Like I guess in the dissenting voice, I love the pacing in this. It was I could never like stop and breathe. I kind of like that because that's sort of what Wicked is like the comic series. Like there are those quiet moments where people make bad decisions about sleeping with other people. And that kind of thing, but then it sort of quickly ramps into sort of a lot of the betrayal and chaos and killing children. So I just wanted to, I'm not saying anything here apart from I feel you running this game, and you did it splendidly. So I guess my versus to you as an MC for like running this game, and again, also your descriptions and stuff are so fucking amazing. Like Glitter Blood, I will live with you forever until I die. Like that is such an evocative image. And all your NPCs were fantastic, and the way you embodied them is so good. And I'm so sad this has to end because like this is the first time in a game I felt such a love for like all of the PCs, but also like all of the NPCs as well. And it's such a rich, vibrant world, and I wanted to see the fucking comic of this game. So I hate you. That's all my many roses to you, Patrick, for running this, and also it being your first golden game. You just heads off. I'm so jealous of your ability to be spontaneous and improv all this and wrap into a plot line and bring all this great stuff with this god death, and I love it.
Thank you.
And then because I can't keep talking, Ryan, thank you so much for playing Op-Ed and for the best. Like, that was the epilogue I wanted, was Tyr to be like, "Fuck you, I love you so much, and I don't deserve you, but here are my feelings on the table," kind of thing. And then your like epilogue in response to that was like so spot on, right down to like, "And you can keep the fucking jeans." Like, that was everything that I wanted. You're a delight to play, like, sad romance off of, and it felt like the werewolf can so quickly get into abusive, cyclic, like, kind of uncomfortable, gross relationship stuff. But I don't know what it was about these characters, but it came out very optimistic in a game that's all about sort of death and destruction, and I enjoyed having that glimmer of hope and optimism amongst two people who were so sad. So thank you. I can't say how much I appreciate you as a person. And same with Ami. Like, I just adore Ami so much, and all of her, like, the fact that you hurt me by hugging me and then, which made me go dark as self, was like a highlight of my gaming life overall, forever, for eternity. That was like the most amazing use of lash I've seen ever, and you're a genius. And I liked the Ami Tyr relationship so much. You played an unrequited love interest so well, and it was so beautiful. And I again appreciate playing off like you in all those scenes and stuff. And Moira, fuck me. That, like, Alex, where the crap do you get all this like amazing imagery about threads and sinew and blood and stuff? Like, we're related, and yet I don't have the capacity to be that poetic and amazing. And I wish we had more scenes together. But I just, you're the best. I've talked so much, but I just have so much love for everyone right now. Yeah, you guys are amazing. I'm gonna mute myself before I go on, but I'm just gushing about how much I love all of you. So thanks.
That was amazing. David.
So I'm going to start with Alex from where Lauren left off. So, Alex, it's a good thing that I played this game with you as an adult of 36, because if I played this game with you when I was 15, you would have given me nightmares for years. Like, seriously, so fucking creepy, so over the top, amazing. The only thing is there was so much going on. I wish there was more time for Ami and Morai to really explore their friendship, because they were friends. We just barely ever had scenes with each other. But I will say the scene where you were basically slapping sense into Ami was so great, and that was definitely I love that so much. So, even though I already gave you stars for that, I wanted to circle back on that. Going back to Tyr, God, it was so much fun to be crushing over your character, Lauren. No, it was truly great. And your character was just honestly so disinterested in Ami unless you were apologizing, which drove Ami nuts. It was so great, and I would have loved more time to explore the total bitch of Amaterasu, just constantly trying to coax Tyr into this honestly really stupid plan. But I had the idea like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago or something like that, and like, oh yeah, that's how bitchy Amaterasu is. So no, it was great playing with you. So I know I got sidetracked there. No, Tyr was fantastic. Honestly, though, this game would not have been the same with Ami in it if it wasn't for Apep. Just the dichotomy of the two. Even though we spent so much time not interacting, just the fact that we were playing it so we were playing into each other without ever being in the scene, just by being so opposite. That was amazing. The few times we were together, it was like, God, how can I even meet that tension that we've been building up? Apep was fantastic. Which, circling back to finally the game in general, this was an intense run of Monsterhearts, and it was fantastic. There were times where it's like, oh man, there's so many opportunities to do so much more. But that's because we had so much packed in and so much we were willing to do. Honestly, this kind of needed to be a 3-month campaign, because we really got through 3 months of content there, because holy crap did things happen. So Patrick, you should be so proud of this game. It was really amazing. And I think a lot of it went back to how you ran that first session where we made characters. And I think that is one of the trickiest skills to build up in Powered by the Apocalypse, is how do you get people to make those compelling characters and get engaged in the game? Because when you do that, that's when the game really sings. And you did it with gusto. So honestly, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy with how all of our world building from that session spun out. It was a 5-session run, so I wanted to be indulgent with it, and it felt very self-indulgent. Like, oh my God, did we really just spend 3 hours on that? But it laid so much groundwork that y'all constantly kept going back to and mining deeper and deeper in really satisfying ways. So thank you for doing that. Alex.
Sorry.
Oh, Lauren, what do you say?
That just reminded me. Thank you so much for giving me the Monsterhearts I want, which is adults acting like teenagers rather than sort of teenagers being teenagers. Because this, I don't know how to explain what I want to say, but I found playing Monsterhearts proper. It's very petty teenage. I'm gonna just hook up with you to get back at so and so, and I hate you for very childish reasons, and that was here, but it was within that context of we're gods are gonna fuck up the world kind of thing. And I appreciated how just adding that layer of responsibility made this feel like a more adult game of Monsterhearts. So yeah.
There's something about that mix of power and death sentence that leads to it sloughs off a lot of the silly childishness of Monsterhearts in some areas and just heightens it in others. But Alex, roses.
Alrighty, do the right to left run through. So Ryan, holy shit, Apep was so cool, despite you saying he isn't cool. It was so much fun to watch him. It was every time you brought up the lighting, I was like, oh yeah. Patrick, holy shit, this is amazing. Your NPCs are the best ever. I've never been so invested in a big character in my life. Harry's still be missed. And in terms of mechanics, I super enjoyed the miracle move. Just for instant escalation. A brawl turns into a war. It was so much fun to play with. Lauren, I super enjoyed the whole sword of righteous fire. The entire scene was just so badass. Your descriptions are so on point. And then Dave, the whole that punch me in the face, thwack, is just gonna stay in my mind forever. That's me.
I don't even know. So many. It was all so amazing. Ryan, Ophep was just an absolute delight. Your visuals and thematics were always just perfectly on point. The whole digital distortion Fritz out vibe was super cool. And I loved just all the conflicting bits of Apep where he's like too cool for everything, but definitely watching to make sure that you're watching him, and doesn't care at all about anyone and cares so much about everyone. In just all these wonderful layers. And oh jeez, I loved all of it. Lauren, that constant refrain of like, "Oh, this is so sad, but I'm gonna do it," or "Oh, I hate myself for saying this, but I'm gonna do it." That always being willing to one up yourself, one up the situation, and the way that you just like looked at the cues from your playbook, because I don't the like Second Skins playbooks that we used ended up being really nice. But taking your cues from the moves, taking your cues from your darkest self, and just looking at all of them and being willing to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do more of that, in a really great way. Um, David, I loved Amaterasu. She did this amazing arc from like the first couple of sessions. It was so fun to play into that almost anime awkward teenager sort of vibe to her. It was so great that I could ruin Amaterasu's world by turning a spotlight, like a literal spotlight on her just for a moment, so that like 5 people looked at her, and that was the worst thing that had ever happened to her. But like you managed to take that character and grow her through some really advanced like progressions as we got into these later sessions, watching her go through these like emotional maturity moments and these self-realization moments was so unexpected from the very like raw cutesiness that we started at with her, that it was a delight to see each time you're like, no, I know better than this situation. I am better than this situation. It's the dice aren't better than the situation, but I am. um and also like extra special rose to you for coming in, being the one that doesn't know anything about Wicked and Divine, hooking into the feel of this, like instantly bringing all of this mythology to the fore, bringing all this enthusiasm to where like it was it was gratifying to see someone that has no knowledge of it immediately hook in and be swinging on the same level as everyone else. And it was just really personally awesome to see someone so super invested in it because of the game that it was, not because of the cool reference material, the source material that I keep referencing. That I don't know if that makes sense, but that was a really nice feeling. Um, and Alex, like fucking hell, the Moirai is amazing. What I just a complete cipher of a character in the best way. Because I get so into like seeing where the dominoes are going to fall and planning out things that are happening before they happen. And there was never a moment when I could do that exactly with the Moirai, because like I said, whenever I would come to her with like a question or a how do you feel about this situation, or what random thought is running through your head, what came out was not what I expected. It was not what I would have thought would happen in the situation, but it was such a beautiful twist on it, or a beautiful like confusion, or just the willingness to be like, I don't think Zoe is mad enough. She seems like she's holding back a little bit, and I want this all to get a lot crazier. The Moirai was beautiful and gruesome and conflicted, and I loved the like warring with themselves in Sirhead. I thank you / curse you for the crash course in complicated pronoun use. Because it wasn't just the Caesar thing, there was also the they versus singular versus who's at the fore here, and oh god, it was all the sort of like intense mythological wictive nerdery that I get into with the comic in all the best ways. And I love all of you, and I love this game, and I love your characters, and I love this world, and I love the carnival. Let me stop back in at the carnival real quick. Totally unexpected choice. Like, I was very much going off of the comic idea of like, this is going to be a building, this is going to be a temple, this is going to be a central place, and to have this like sprawling weirdo carnival was phenomenal. Roses forever, so many things. I want to start at moment 1 of session 1 and give roses for all the things that happened sequentially in order from everyone, but that might take the full like 15 hours or so that we've played. So I'm gonna stop here and not talk more.
I will jump in though, because
Yay!
I can, and say that I was listening to this going, oh heck, I forgot to give one of the roses that I was going to give, because I was talking to Lauren the other day, going, she said something about this being a cool game of Monsterhearts. I'm like, I totally forgot this was a game of Monsterhearts, because somehow it doesn't feel at all like Monsterhearts to me. I mean, the vibe is completely different, just with the addition of a couple moves and a different background, and it felt like a completely separate game, and I loved that. So, yes, a lot of what Lauren was saying about the stakes being different, but yeah, it doesn't feel like the Monsterhearts I've played at all. It was awesome. It felt very much like Wictive, and as I was also saying, I have been vaguely annoyed with all of my reading and viewing material because it's not the comic of this game, and why isn't it? And I cannot forgive it for that, so you've ruined everything for a while. How dare you?
Agree / thank you, and also screw you / thank you. Additional rose. I can talk for as long as I want. Screw you all. You're never getting to go to sleep. I can't sleep after this, so why should you? Let's just do roses forever. Thank you so much for indulging me in time-consuming, wildly over-the-top music nerdery. Thank you for going with storytelling shorthand through music video, and emotional shorthand through music video. Thank you for throwing in your own, either in like the email back and forth or unexpected moments in the middle of a session where I'm like, I don't have a song for this right now, but we're at a break point. Someone else has a song. Perfect. I often fear that I'm going over the top with it, but thank you for always being willing to dig into it and have fun with it.
Oh, it actually like made me feel better about my own self-indulgent like music nerdery bullshittery, where I was like, I can give everyone all the sad Sufjan Stevens songs that I love so dearly. So thank you for like facilitating that music nerd in me, Patrick.
I will say, for the next run, I already have a bunch of Blonde Redhead songs planned out that that don't sound necessarily good to everybody, but I do love.
I'm excited to hear whatever you are passionate enough about to throw into the game.
I'm gonna echo everyone here and saying that I liked how excited you were about the music, because as soon as I was figuring out what my character was going to be, I started assembling my Spotify playlist of trying to triangulate my sound, because I was kind of being a movement sort of thing more than a person, and it was nice to go like, so here's my Spotify playlist, have to be totally normal.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Putting together a playlist was so much fun. Like, oh, this is totally Moirai. It's like learning a character through songs.
Yeah, I love it. It speaks so well to this world. It speaks so well to. Does anybody know? Is it Kieran Chiron? I have no idea how to say that name.
I think it's Kieran Gillen. Yeah.
Okay. It so speaks into like his aesthetic and the viewpoint of the game. And it's how I come up with things. Many sort of game things that I plan are around songs or particular music videos, and like 70% of my prep for this game was just sitting on YouTube and clicking through videos. Sometimes the same ones over and over again, sometimes just following a random rabbit hole to where it led.
So like I do playlists for like all my characters, and it was so good to like finally have a game where I'm like I can make a playlist and then like force it on everyone's throat because it's like relevant.
It's part of the fiction.
Like all of you can listen to like For the Widows in Paradise and also like Enchanting Ghost, and you can feel the feelings like Tyr's feeling. His Tyr is like a self-hating indie artist.
I'll say that one thing was the one time that I totally missed your musical shorthand was that I often let the music video play and kind of walk off to get a drink or something, so I don't see the video, and I missed the Parvati died part because I was going, oh, this is a really perfect Op-Ep and Tyr song in a really weird way, except it's also a murder video, which I didn't see until I came back and rewatched it. Went, oh, so that's what happened.
I do feel like I need to get better at flagging, like, this is an emotional / lyrics moment. This is a video sort of moment, and I do want to get better at that. Because like I said, I did a lot of shorthand or non-storytelling through presenting things up, so I do need to be clearer about, like, this is something you really need to pay attention to.
It's a shame we never had like Heads Will Roll by the yeah.
Oh, wait,
I saw that was on his
a decoration
Pantheon
of what?
playlist.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I kept holding off on it because I didn't know if you wanted to use it at some point, Alex. But it is sort of the theme song for what happened here in the last one.
1,000,000%. Well, like the glitter blood, like literal werewolves like coming out and killing. I guess in this case I was the werewolf. I'm sorry.
I think he's a were-rat. Michael Jackson were-rat. But yes, I mean it's that's where I stole the glitter blood from.
This is another one where I'm like, I can sing the whole song, but I've never seen the video, so I'm missing out on all of the shorthand. I need to watch that now.
Oh, this video is fucking amazing.
It is so good. Not just for like Karen O's dress, but like the whole thing is fucking amazing.
Oh, her dress is everything.
And sort of similarly, thanks for putting up with my responding to everything with Op-Ep. Not Op-Ep, Baphomet quotes, because those are also all Op-Ep quotes, and it's perfect. And I was just realizing that I totally should have, after the last one, like, just sent in the chat the, Baphomet, can you answer some questions without being a dick? And the question's yes. Dick? Hell no. So, yes. That is everything I ever wanted to say to Emmy. There you go.
You know, at some point, Ami and Op-Ep are just going to make out, you know?
You think so, but it's never happening, Ami. I mean,
oh, no.
It's written right there on the sex movie. He's kind of a one-person snake.
David thinks that's going to happen at some point.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast here unless anybody has more roses.
Thank you to, oh god, I'm blanking on the guy. Who's the lovely gentleman who watches all these videos?
Barry is amazing. Oh my god. I cannot tell you how exciting it is to see how excited he is about this bullshit. It's amazing.
So like, oh gosh, for sure.
We have a real life Laura.
I know. I've never met him. I've never played with him. He's just some stranger who thought our game was so cool that he keeps talking about it. And that's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, it's the weird meta level of Wicked. But I wanted to say thank you to Barry for watching these videos.
1000%.
Oh gosh, he's the best.
I feel bad because he didn't get into the October run. It's like he really wanted to.
I think he said the time frame is off for him, which is understandable. This is a weird time frame. But I believe and hope that he will get into one of the games in the future and he'll play with us and be amazing. You're awesome, Barry, and I can't think of a better place to end it.